Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where you are. Welcome to Ahfad University for Women, and this is the Project Management PUSS 422. I am your teacher, Muhammad Said Mahjoub. Hello, welcome everyone to today's session on Introduction to Project Management. This is the first topic of our project management course, and we will focus on understanding the foundational aspects of what projects are, how they differ from regular management activities, and why they are crucial in today's business world. So let us begin with the simple thoughts. Think about some of the largest global achievements in recent history. So, for example, could include development of the COVID-19 vaccines, which we unfortunately been through it in 2022 and 2021. Also, the construction of the biggest building in the world, Burj Khalifa in Dubai, or even the last biggest ceremony, the organizing of the FIFA World Cup in Qatar 2022. So, what do all of these accomplishments have in common? So, this is a very startup question that we can think about. All of them, they were all managed as projects. And when you say projects, that means they are temporary endeavors with specific goals, budgets, and deadline. So we will start with the definition and the characteristics of project, which according to the Project Management Institute, PMI, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. So you will find this definition on page 2 in our reference material. And projects are not just about big endeavors. They also include organizing corporate events, like launching a product, for example, opening a new branch, or even writing a book. And inshallah, when you go to year 5, the graduation year, you will start doing your own project research, which is a project also. What makes all of these unique is their temporary nature and their focus on specific deliverables, which is different from one project to another. So you may think about many other real life examples. So when inshallah, when it comes to year 5 and hopefully we return back to our campus, you will be in planning with the university for your graduation ceremony, which is a one-time event with a clear objective is to celebrate the accomplishments of you as graduates. You will need to consider budgets, deadline, and resources. And this contrasts with daily university operations like managing lectures or maintaining campus facilities, which are ongoing processes. So projects are temporary, one-time thing, while routine activities like lectures are ongoing processes. So this will illustrate the essence of project management, which is about organizing temporary activities to achieve a unique outcome. And very important to start with why we study project management. So the field of project management has gained immense popularity because it drives innovation and efficiency. And on page 3 of our text book, there will be highlights how organizations increasingly rely on projects to implement their strategies and adapt to the global changes. For instance, for example, a company launching A new smartphone model like iPhone might treat the development process as a project, as ensuring that all the components regarding the design, software, manufacturing are aligned with the market needs. Then we will go through the trends and the scope. And will be noted in page 3, the significance of the project management trends. So nowadays we know the most recent trend in project management is agile project management. And we will discuss this in more details. This approach is widely used in industries like software developments. When we say agile, that allows team to adapt quickly to changes, and we know that nowadays environment is about dynamic in its nature. It's rapid changing. Every day there is something new, and this is the key requirements in today's fast-paced business environment. For example, when you are developing an application, for example, for a companies often use agile methods to deliver features incrementally, making adjustment based on the user's feedback. And we will go in depth in about agility and what is agility and what are the agility methods. So as we move through this course, consider how projects influence every aspects of our lives. When you look at your ordinary day, it's a project. It has a start and it has an end, so it's temporary. It's unique. Your today is not like tomorrow, not like the day after. Also, your journey in the university, it's a temporary endeavor, one-time thing. When you start your journey in the university, from the first day you enter the university until the graduation, it's also a project. So projects is everything in our lives, from personal endeavors, and inshallah when you plan for your wedding, to societal transformation like renewable energy initiatives that we are looking for to maintain sustainability and to reduce the global warming hazards. Next, inshallah, we will delve into the learning objectives of this topic and outline the key takeaways from today's session. So you will find this topic in chapter 1, the world of project management, from page 1 to page 12. So let us continue now. In this slide, we will discuss the learning outcomes for today's session on Introduction to Project Management. So by end of this lecture, you will be able to define what a project is and identify its distinguishing characteristics. Also, you will be able to explain the key differences between project management and general management. Also, you will be able to understand the triple constraints or the iron triangle of project management. Then you will identify trends in project management, including agility methodologies. Last, you will be able to recognize the importance of project selection and its aligned with organization strategy. So let us break these down into detail, and I will provide example to clarify each point. So first, we will define project and its characteristics. So you will learn about a project which is temporary, unique, and goal-oriented. So for instance, building a new school, it's a project. Remember, in our campus, the building of the new medicine block and the new laboratories, it has a defined a start and a point, specific objectives, and required a mix of resources and expertise. So on page 2 of our reference material, we'll elaborate on these characteristics, comparing project to routine tasks such as running a school's daily operations like lectures, lessons, and so on. Then We will move to the key characteristics, the key differences between project and general management. On page 4 in the textbook highlights these differences, as while general management involves ongoing tasks, day-to-day routine operations, project management focus on a unique time-bounded objective that's temporary at the start, at the end, and it will never repeat it. So, for example, when you consider an IT department, their regular maintenance tasks fall under general management, okay? Like reviewing the devices, the network, but deploying a new company wide software system would be a project because it's one-time thing. But running this system, it will be part of their routine operations. We move to understanding the triple constraints, which are the ion triangle objectives of the project. A key takeaway from today's session is understanding the three critical project constraints, which are time, cost, and scope. And this will be shown, inshallah, in figure 1.1 on page 10. These elements from the core of project performance. For example, when constructing a bridge, it might face challenges if delays, which is the time occurs. The budget can be overruns. The cost of the materials can be more expensive than expected, and or the design specification, the scope might change. So balancing these constraints and the trade-off between them is essential for project success, as we will see. Fourth, we will go for the trends in project management. So we will explore emerging trends like agile methodologies, which will be discussed in chapter 9. Now it's widely used in industries such as technology and manufacturing. And this is the most current trend in project management. So for instance, companies like Spotify and Tesla, you may go to search and Google on them, use agile to innovate rapidly and respond to market demands. And this is the one of the most important features of the world that we live in, the dynamics, the rapid change. So using virtual projects like it's another highlighted trends on page 3, where global teams collaborate seamlessly despite being spread across time zones. Nowadays, globalization is the feature of the world. The advanced technologies allow people to communicate easily, and the cost of transportation is very low compared to what it was in the early ages of this earth. So people can now contact others. As now we are conducting these lessons, we are in different areas from the world. Part of us in Sudan, part in Egypt, part in Europe, part even in USA, but still being able to communicate, and we still being able to align and combine effort and task together. So we can establish teams virtually in different places, and we can communicate using the most advanced communication approaches. And then we will conclude with the projects selection and alignment with the strategy, and this will be inshallah discussed more in details in topic 3, how we can select projects that it can be aligned with the strategy. But here we will just discuss why project selection crucial for achieving organization goal. So in page 3 we will mention how companies prioritize projects that align with their mission and strategic objectives. And one of the biggest companies in the world, Google now, invest in projects like renewable energy initiatives which is aligned to the goal of achieving carbon neutrality as a part of their sustainability commitment to the world. So we can end with this. Before we start, think about a project that you are encountered or being part of. Okay, and even you may search about project in the internet if you don't have one. Maybe an event you helped organize or a product you helped develop, or think about something that in your ordinary life, like participating in preparing a meal for a family, participating in wedding planning for one of your relatives. As we'll go through today's lecture, try to relate these concepts to your experiences. So in the next slide, you will outline the content, and you will cover in this that we will cover in this session. So let us continue to the content of the topic. Let us move on to today's session content. This slide outlines the key areas we will cover in our discussion on Introduction to Project Management. By end of today's session, inshallah, you will be able to have a clear understanding about the following topics. What is a project? Trends in project management versus general management, agile project management overview, the triple constraints of projects and real-world application. Let us go over these briefly to set the stage of our deep explanation. What is a project? We will start by defining a project and identifying its key characteristics. As noted on page 2 of our reference material, projects are temporary endeavors aimed at producing a unique product, service, or result. For example, the development of the vaccine during the COVID-19 pandemics was a project. It has a specific goal, which is the development of the vaccine that cure and prevent COVID-19. A deadline, the WHO tried to develop this vaccine within a specific period of time, and it required extensive collaboration across many disciplines, where it's not only a one team or a one person job. It was a collaboration between different departments from the WHO, from the pharmaceutical industry companies like Pfizer, like Johnson and Johnson, AstraZeneca, all those companies. Each of those companies start to develop its own COVID-19 pandemic vaccine. Second, we'll go through the trends in project management. So on page 3, you will find details about the latest trends in project management. We will discuss how businesses use project management to align with strategic goals, and how methodologies like agile and virtual project management are transforming industries nowadays, and especially to adapt to the rapid changes dynamics in the business environment. A real life application includes includes how companies like Amazon, which is the biggest e-commerce trading company, and you may search about it on Google, make global supply chain using their modern techniques to allow the delivery of their products purchased by their customers around the world on time as planned for. Third, we will differentiate between project management versus general management. So that will be found on page 4, as we outlines the differences between project and general management. Unlike the routine, repetitive nature of general management, like doing the ordinary thing that we do every day, project management focuses on unique, time-bounded goals. For example, running a retail store daily in operations involve general management. But launching a new e-commerce platform, it's a project. Okay, doing the ordinary human resource activities, performance appraisal, conducting reports, remuneration, preparation of the salary slip, it's a routine job. But conducting training for a specific group of employees for a specific scope, that is a project. Agile project management overview. This will be our fourth topic for today. So agile methodologies and are discussed extensively on page 9 on the textbook. Agile is a flexible approach allowing teams to adapt to changes quickly, which is the pattern in the business environment nowadays. For example, Spotify, this is one of the biggest nowadays application in the world, you may Google it again, uses Agile to roll out updates to its platform to respond to the user's feedback in near real time. So this iterative method is now being adopted across various industries beyond the IT. So even manufacturing industries are trying to use agile methodologies, as we will see. We move to the fifth part of this topic with the triple constraint of projects. We will introduce the critical constraints of project management. Sometimes they call the golden project objectives or the iron triangle. Okay, the time, cost, and scope, which is explicit in figure 1.1 from page 10 on the textbook. These elements are always in tension. So for instance, if project exceeds its budget, it might affect the timeline or require the reduction in the scope. Like in construction projects, like building a new airport terminal, for example, a new airport terminal must carefully balance these constraints to succeed. The deadline of delivering the project, the budget needed for the resources, and the scope, the design, the specification of the project. While, as we will see, we are surrounded with uncertainty environment, so we may need to go with the trade-off between these constraints as a part of the project manager responsibility. Last, we will go through real-world applications. So finally, we will explore real-world applications of project management principles. Okay, like from Elon Musk SpaceX project to community initiatives like project organizing, fundraising, events, graduation ceremonies. Project management is a skill that apply to virtually every industry and over, and even on our personal life. So lastly, we can say that as we explore these topics, think about again example from your experiences. Remember the project that I asked you to think about it in the previous slide. Have you ever participated in a project before? Think about when. How did it manage time, cost, and scope? Think about what was the objective of that project and when the project should be delivered and what was the cost of that project. By reflecting on real-world applications, you will connect today's concept to practical scenarios, and this is very important. So inshallah, in the next slide, we will define some key terms that are essential for understanding project management. So let us proceed. Now let us take a closer look at some of the key terms you will need to understand as we dive into the project management. Mastering these terms is essential for building a strong foundation in this subject. Here are the terms we will focus on today. What is project? Triple constraints, agile, scope, and stakeholders. Let us unpack each of these concepts with examples and references from the textbook. First, project. As defined on page 2 of this reference, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique, for one time, either product, something tangible, services intangible, or a result. Projects have a clear start and end, unique, temporary, specific deliverables, unique, and are often multidisciplinary. Projects mostly are complex and it never being executed or completed by only one person. It needs a collaboration of a team. So think, for example, about building our medicine complex in our university, a new school campus. This project is temporary because it begins with the planning and ends with the construction. It also has a unique goal, which is delivering a fully operational educational facility with numbers of the floors, the design of the building, okay, the colors that they will use. Contrast this with daily maintenance work at existing school, which is ongoing and routine, not a project. So every day the laborer going to see what are the defects in the building and try to fix what he can fix and what is faulted. So it's a temporary routine task for him. Second, a triple constraints or the ion triangle or the golden objectives. On page 10, we will see the triple constraints or the ion triangle, which refers to the balance between the time, deadline, the cost, the budget, and the scope, the performance. These elements are interdependent, as we will see. Changing one often impact to the other. That's why trade-off is required between them. So when you consider, for example, launching in marketing a mobile application, if the team decided to add new features, for example, increasing the scope, adding more activities to the event, this might need more time or money to complete this launching a project. So balancing between these constraints is critical to success, as you will see in figure 1.1 in this book. Visualizing represent these relationships. The third term is agile, which is introduced on page 9. It's a project management methodology that emphasizes flexibility, collaboration, and iterative process. This originally developed for software projects, but now agile is used across many industries, even in manufacturing industries. So for example, when the marketing team might use agile to roll out a social media campaign. In that way, instead of creating all posts at once, okay, this could release a new posts, gather audience feedback, and then adjust the strategy of the subsequent posts. So depends on the feedbacks of the audience from your first stages in the campaign. You can design the new posts and new campaign blocks. So this iterative approach ensuring continuous improvement. The first concept is the scope. Scope discussed on page 10 refers to the deliverables of the project, and this is very important concept in project, the work that needed to be done to meet the objective. So scope can be broken into two types, as we will see. Product scope, which is the features or the functionality of the deliverables itself, which is the specification of the product and the service that we are going to develop. The project scope, it's the required work to produce the deliverables. What are the tasks, jobs that it need to be uh, executed. So for example, a construction of a hospital project, the product scope might include the fully equipped emergency room, the design, the numbers of machineries, the numbers of the rooms, while the project scope encompasses all the tasks required in designing, construction, and, for example, equipment procurement, supply chain, marketing, everything that required to make and construct and deliver this emergency room in the hospital. The last term, which is also one of the most important key terms in project, is stakeholders. Stakeholders are individuals or groups affected by or involved in project. So everyone is interested in the project performance. The project will be affected by their performance and by their decisions. They may include client, team members, suppliers, end users, the parent organization that we affiliated to. So successful project management requires balancing the stakeholder expectations, which it may be very difficult in many cases. So for example, if we have a renewable energy project, the stakeholders might include investors who invest in this project, the government agencies who may approve the designs and they have regulations we need to fulfill, local communities which will be part of the area that we will construct the project in, and environmental groups who are interested in such matter for sustainability. So understanding their concerns is the key to the project success. Investors would like to invest as less money they can. For example, environmental groups would like to enlarge the renewable energy projects to cover as much area as possible. Government agencies, they have regulations we need to fulfill when we are constructing such project and so on. So we can say that by end of knowing these key terms, as you learn these terms, think about projects again that you was participated in the same project. So think about the scope of the project. How did the stakeholders influence decisions? And inshallah, when we come to discuss stakeholders in details, you can apply this. Did you encounter challenges for balancing time, cost, and scope? Anything's happened to your project makes you decide to balance between the delivery time, the budget of the project, and the scope, either it's the product scope or the project scope. So now we will move to the next slides and we'll dive into the lessons content. We'll start with the first part with definition of the project and its scope characteristics. So let us move on. Let us begin the first part of this topic by answering the fundamental question: what is a project? According to the Project Management Institute, the BMI, which is one of the well-reputed organizations in the world, providing one of the famous project management professional certificate, abbreviated as PMP, defined project as a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or a result. This definition found on page 2 of our reference, emphasizing 3 key characteristics. Temporary nature of the project. Project have a start and end. So any project should start at a certain point and end at a certain date. It has a unique outcomes. Each project aims to create something distinct, special, never repeated. The third characteristic is goal-oriented. All projects are designed to meet specific objectives. So, breaking it down, the temporary nature, that means unlike routine tasks, projects are time-bounded. They are not ongoing. that have a clear beginning and end. Once objective is achieved, the project is complete. So for example, consider the construction of Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world now. The project began with detailed planning in 2004 and was completed in 2010. Once construction finished, the project team disbanded and the project is terminated. The second characteristic is unique outcomes. So projects are undertaken to achieve something specific and new, even if two projects appear similar, but their circumstances, resources, and challenges make each one unique. So for example, developing a COVID-19 vaccine was a project, while pharmaceutical companies work toward the same goal. Each company's approach, whether mRNA based or antivirus vector technology, made their projects unique. So some of the pharmaceutical companies like AstraZeneca, okay, and Johnson and Johnson, Pfizer, each work with different technology approach, mRNA or uh, antivirus vector technology. So the technology that they use different while the goal was the same. The last characteristic 3 is goal oriented. Every project has specific deliverables definitely tied to defined objectives. These objectives can vary widely, from launching a product to solving a social issue. And remember, you are supposed to go to the field trip as part of your university requirements, which also was a project for solving a social issue. Another example for that, when organizing music festival, for example, involve many goals: securing venues, booking artists, and ensuring audience satisfaction. So achieving these goals define the project success. So projects versus work routine can be distinguished between projects and routine works is critical. So page 2 explain these differences as projects are unique, temporary, for example, designing a new smartphone, while routine work involves repetitive, ongoing activities. For example, manufacturing the smartphone itself in the factory, it's an ongoing routine. Another real example of this distinction is evident in education. So, organizing a university graduation ceremony, it's a project. It is a one-time, unique event, while running daily classes is routine work. It happens consistently throughout the year. Projects nowadays are featured with complexity and multidisciplinary nature. This is also part of the characteristics of the project. Projects often involve teams with diverse skills and expertise, as did discuss also in page 2, where authors highlighted the multidisciplinary nature of the project by providing the example of the development of the iPhone, which was required collaboration between software engineers, hardware engineers, marketers, and supply chain experts. So each of those team members brought unique experts to achieve the project's goal. So you may think again of your experiences of the project that we decided earlier. What was its goal? Think about it. What was its goal? Did you have a clear end for that project? So by understanding these characteristics, uniqueness, oriented, goal-specific deliverables, temporary deadline, multidisciplinary, will help you differentiate projects from routine work and appreciate the unique challenges may they present. So next, we will explore emerging trends in project management, which are reshaping how projects are planned and executed in today's world. So let us continue to the next slide. In this slide, we will explore some key trends in project management that are reshaping how projects are executed. These trends are essential for understanding the evolving role of project managers and the challenges they may face in today's dynamic environment. You will find a detailed discussion of these trends on page 3 of our reference. Here are the main trends we will focus on. One is the importance of aligning projects with the strategic goal. Second, agile methodologies. Third, growth of project management office. The fourth is the virtual projects and globalization. Let us go through each one in details. Alignment with strategic goals, the first trend. Organizations increasingly use projects to achieve their strategic long-term goals. This trend ensures that every project contributes to the organization's mission and long-term vision. And as we will discuss in more details in topic 3, the project selection, we will discuss why and how the projects that selected should align with the projects with the organization strategic goals. So for example, when Google prioritizes projects like renewable energy initiatives to align with its goal of becoming carbon neutral as a part of the sustainability strategic objectives. By selecting projects tied to strategic goals, companies ensure they deliver value not only to customers but also to other stakeholders and society. Page 3 mentions that projects without clear ties to strategic objectives are often not approved, as we will see in topic 3. This emphasizes the importance of project selection and prioritization in modern organization. The second trend is the rise of agile methodologies. Agile project management, which will be discussed in page 9, is a game changer. It offers flexibility, promotes collaboration, and delivers results in smaller iterative steps called sprints as part of the continuous improvement. Agile is particularly valuable in fast-paced industries where customer needs and market conditions change rapidly. That's why it started in the software engineering projects. So for example, Spotify, one of the biggest platforms in the software applications, uses Agile to continuously improve its music streaming platform. By releasing updates incrementally, they gather real-time feedback and make adjustments by ensuring that the platform meets the user expectations. So this is a kind of an application of the agile project management. The third trend is the growth of project management offices, PMOs. PMOs, or project management offices, play a crucial role in standardizing project practices and improving efficiency. So according to what mentioned in page 3, project management offices often lead efforts to enhance project management maturity within organizations. They also help implement methodologies like Agile and monitor the organization project portfolio. Portfolio is the group of the projects that the government conducted at the same time. For example, one of the biggest companies in the world, IBM, which is specialized in computer technology, has a global project management office, PMO, that ensures all its projects are aligned with the corporate strategy, where it's launching a new software product or managing large-scale client implementation. And one of the most important aspects about PMO office, it's not responsible of conducting the project. It's responsible for supporting projects, coordinating between the projects, and distributing the required resources and ensuring the best utilization of the organization resources. The last trend is the virtual projects and globalization. The rise of virtual teams is another significant trend that highlighted in page 3. Also, advanced communication tools enable global teams to collaborate seamlessly and across time zones and geographic areas. So nowadays, companies are running projects in different geographical time zones, and the coordination and the collaboration between the teams is now virtually using the internet and communication technologies. So for example, consider the development of SpaceX Starlink satellite internet project, which nowadays we are using this technology a lot in Sudan with this continuation of the telecommunication provider Zain, MTN and Sudani to fail providing the internet in all of Sudan areas. So teams involved in this project was from different parts of the world contribute to design, testing and manufacturing these Starlink internet devices without needing to work in the same physical location. So they use virtual tools like Zoom, Slack, and project management software like Jira makes such projects possible. Globalization then also brings diversity to project team, leading to richer perspectives and innovative solutions. However, it also introduces challenges such as managing cultural differences and time zone overlaps. So one of the team members may be in China and other of the team members may be in USA. So when the day it's at its beginning in USA, in China, they are reaching the night. So this kind also of challenges. So I would like you to think also again about how do you see these trends impacting industries that you are familiar with. So think about any project, your project, and think about the industry that your project is in, and think about the agile methods used in software development or how virtual collaboration has become commonplace, especially post-pandemic during the COVID-19 and after the emergence of using virtual teams arises. So we will continue inshallah to the next slide to discuss the differences between projects management and general management. So let us proceed. In this slide, we will discuss the key differences between project management and general management. Understanding these differences is crucial because they highlight why managing projects required a unique set of skills and approaches. You will find these points outlined on page 4 of our reference material. So let us start with defining the two terms. Project management focuses on achieving unique goals within a specific time frame and budget, while general management oversees ongoing operations and ensures the smooth functioning of business organizations. So the key differences can be highlighted as follows. First, the type of work activities. On page 4 explains that project management involves unique one-time activities, whereas general management handles routine repetitive tasks. So for example, in an IT department, project management may be deploying a new company-wide software system. So it's for the first time and for once, while general management is about monitoring the day-to-day performance of existing IT infrastructure. So projects required innovation, adaptability, while general management focuses on maintaining efficiency and consistency of the repetitive, ongoing routine work. The second aspect is planning. For project management, planning is critical and highly detailed because each project is unique, definitely, and requires careful coordination. While in general management, in contrast, often relies on routine procedure and plans built on past experience and continue to be followed. So imagine a logistic company. So the project management is about planning the delivery network for a one-time event like the Olympics, which was run in Paris 2024. So it's a one-time job. So this plan will be a detailed plan about the delivery of the network, while the general management is about managing regular deliveries across the country, which is something routine, repetitive. So the project plan must address the event's specific needs, while in the general operations rely on established practices that the team used to do repetitively. The third aspect of differences between the project management and the general management is the budgeting. And budgeting also will be one of the topics that inshallah we will discuss and focus in more details. Project budgets are built from scratch for each project, which is often covering multiple budget periods, while in contrast, general management typically modifies existing budget based on prior periods. So for example, in construction, a project manager might create a detailed budget for building or a new office complex. So this is for once, and they have to build it from scratch because there is no any basis for that budget. While in general management, it will be only about adjust the annual maintenance budget for existing facilities because already we have budget, but with some modifications needed to update with the dynamics and the changes. This makes project budgeting more dynamic and complex as it must account for unique requirements and potential uncertainties, while for the general management is just adjustments that will be conducted for the existing budget. The fourth difference in reporting relationship. So page 5 highlights how project management often involves informal reporting structure, while project manager needs to coordinate and collaborate across the departments. General management, on the other hand, follow well-defined hierarchies, so each department will be responsible of its reporting relationship. So for example, when a project manager leading a project launch, he must coordinate with the marketing, design, and sales team. none of whom may directly report to him. So they may directly report to other department manager. In contrast, a general manager oversees employees within their departments only, following a clear chain of command reporting directly to only one, who is the department manager. Also, the project management and general management are different in terms of negotiation skills. Project managers must excel in negotiation to secure resources from different departments and ensure stakeholders alignment. And he is the backbone of the communication between all of the stakeholders internally and externally, as we will see in the project manager role in topic 4. General managers, on the other hand, with more formal authority, rely less on negotiation because they provide orders to their subordinates. So, for example, when a project manager tasked with organizing a corporate event may need to negotiate with the finance team for additional budget, and with the HR team for staff support, and with the external vendor for services. So this will be part of the requirements on by the project manager to excel in negotiation skills. So in addition to these, also the table 1.1 on page 5 provide other aspects for comparison between project management and general management. So also they are different in the management approach. Project management has the ability to adapt to changes, while general management is managed by exceptions. They will change their approach if there is something new. Also, the location of work. In project management, they work with a team from across the organization unit, while the general management, as we discussed, is within the organization unit only, not across. So will be a part of a specific department. And also the sequence in planning of the project management must be determined ahead, while at each time when there is a unique project. But in the general management, it's just need adjustment, as it's often predetermined and just it's followed up. So again, you may think about the project that you already put in your mind at the beginning, and then decide if these differences in your own experience, and have you worked with a project where you had coordinate across the teams. It's not only a one specific task. Project is a multidisciplinary. Did it feel different from managing a day-to-day responsibilities? Okay, so think about the differences between the routine work about general management and the project management task and activities. Next, we'll go in depth to explore the agile project management, which is one of the newest trend in project nowadays. Here in this slide, we will discuss agile project management, a modern approach to managing projects that emphasizes flexibility, collaboration, and iterative progress. Agile is particularly effective in dynamic environments where requirements often evolve during the project life cycle, which we will discuss it inshallah in the next topic. You will have a detailed discussion of agile methodologies on page 9 on the reference. Let us explore the core principles, benefits, and real-world application of Agile. What is Agile project management? Agility as a term was initially developed for software projects, but has since been adapted for a wide range of industries. It differs from traditional project management, often called waterfall method, the traditional. Each phase of the project, like planning, execution, and delivery, is completed sequentially, like a waterfall, following each other in sequential manner. We start with planning, then executing, then termination and delivery. While in contrast, Agile breaks projects into smaller, manageable cycles called sprints, allowing teams to deliver value incrementally and adapt quickly to the changes. So instead of looking at the project as a one whole unit, we break it down into smaller manageable cycles, and we will iterate this progress. That means we repeat it. The core values of the Agile was manifest. The Agile Manifesto was created in 2001, outline the 4 key values of Agile, which also highlighted on page 9. The first is individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Second is working solutions over comprehensive documentation. Third, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. And the last is responding to change over following a plan. These values reflect a shift in focus from rigid processes to flexibility. Flexibility, that means adaptive and changing. Collaboration and continuous improvement. As I mentioned, it was developed in the software applications. So for example, when a software development team using Agile might prioritize building and testing a functional feature over spending weeks writing detailed project plan. So here they focus on the value items in the project. Applying Agile project management has many benefits. So the benefits of Agile, as Agile provides several significant benefits as noted on page 9. Flexibility, where teams can respond quickly to the changes in project requirements while considering the project in smaller sprints, allow us to adapt very fast on the upcoming sprints when required. The second is it has a high customer satisfaction orientation, as continuous feedback from the customers, ensuring the final product meets user expectations. So whenever there is updates, it will be fulfilled for the customers. Also, it has a benefit of reduced risk, as problems are identified and addressed earlier in the project life cycle and adapt to it very fast. The fourth is faster delivery. So one of the features of the Agile is the components are delivered incrementally. Okay, so we deliver partially, reducing the time to market, and where at the same time we can consider any updates in the market environments which reduce the risk on the project. So for example, Spotify, the famous music streaming platform, employs Agile to roll out new features like personalized playlist, They test this feature with a small user base, gather feedbacks from those small users, and refine them before launching globally. So this iterative process ensuring customer satisfaction and minimum risk of launching the project once for all of the users. Uh, the fourth that we need to discuss about the agility is the framework of agility, which is focused on Scrum. One of the most popular agile framework is Scrum, which divided work into sprints, okay, typically lasting from 1 to 2 weeks. Those Scrum teams have three specific roles. First, they are the product owner, represents the customers, and the prioritizing features of the project. There are also a team of Scrum Masters. Those are responsible of facilitating the process and resolve road blocks. The last team is the developers who work collaboratively to deliver functional increments. So for example, think about a marketing campaign project. The project owners might prioritize tasks like content creation. Those are the customers. The Scrum Masters ensures the timelines that are met, who are the master's expert, and the developers who are executing the specific task like designing the visuals will complete the project. Nowadays, we can see that Agile comes beyond software. So while it's originated in software development, as I mentioned, industries like construction, education, and even healthcare are now use Agile principles. For instance, a hospital may use Agile to implement a new patient management system, as by testing the features in one department before scaling them to the organization's wide. So remember, incrementally iterative process. Now think about the projects that you have involved in, and have you encountered situation where changes is required delayed progress because of some external factors that affecting your projects? How would agile methodologies that we discussed here with their focus on adaptability have helped you addressing these challenges arises from the dynamic environments? So agile, as I mentioned, is one of the new trends in project management. While still it's a new, and just here what we need you to know is what is agile projects, what are the benefits, and what are the core values of it. Next, we will discuss one of the most also important aspects in projects, which are the triple constraints of the project, or the ion triangle, which will be one of the central issues in project management, and we will discuss how we should balance between these three constraints. This slide, we are going to explore one of the most fundamental concepts in project management, the triple constraints, also known as the ion triangle of the project management. This concept is crucial because it represents the three key factors, objectives that define a project success or failure. You will find a detailed discussion of these triple constraints in reference on page 10, where the relationship between scope, time, and cost is introduced. Let us break down these three constraints and understand how they work together to determine project success. Time. The first project objective or constraint refers to the project schedule, the amount of time allocated to complete the project. And as we know, each project is a temporary endeavor, has a start date and a finish date. It's a critical constraint because delays can affect the overall success of the project. So delay, that means we are not meeting the time scheduled for the project. So for example, consider a movie production project. So the release date of the film is fixed and the film must be completed by that date. If the filming of the film runs over schedule, that means extended, the release will be delayed. So we cannot release it on the specific date, which could affect the marketing plans. The production delays may affect the marketing promotion plan for that film, the distribution of the film, and also ultimately the revenue. So we are considering to launch this film on Al-Eid festival, and if it's delayed, it will not reach the hot season, so it may affect the revenue. The second constraint is the cost. While cost refers to budget allocation for the project, it covers all financial resources required to complete the project, which including the money required to hire the labor and purchase the material and acquire the technology. All of those resources require money, and this will be valid in terms of monetary value. If the project exceeds its budget, also it can result in the need of additional funding or compromises in order in other areas such as time or scope, and this is the kind of the trade-off needed. When one of the constraints change, it may change the other's constraints. So for example, in a construction project, if the cost of material exceeded the estimated budget, then the project manager may need to negotiate with the stakeholder to either increase the budget, so and I know that the prices of the material it's increased in the market, so I may ask the stakeholders, either the organization or the customers, to increase the budget and or to reduce the project scope. So now in the state of, for example, building 4 floors, we will build only 3 floors. So, or less premium materials, so we need to reduce the quality of the material, or to extend the timeline, so we'll never have to pay more money. So this is a kind of the trade-off that we think about when any dynamics changes happens and one of the ion triangle constraints is changed. This may lead to change in the others constraints. The last constraint is the scope, which is define the work required to deliver the project's product or services. So these are the specifications of the project. It includes the project's objective, deliverables, and the features of functionalities that the final product must have. So the specifications in particular. So the scope is often the most flexible of the 3 constraints because we negotiate to change it if we may want to. But changing the scope also has a significant impact on the post time and cost. By reducing the scope, we need less time and also less cost budget required. But by extending and increasing the scope, the objective, the deliverables, this also will require an extension in the time and increase of the budget. So for example, let's take the example of designing a new mobile application. Initially, the application might include core features, like for example, messaging and notifications. However, If the scope increases, so we added more advanced features like augmented reality or complex integration. This will not only require more time but also will require more budget to implement. So if you think closely, these constraints has a relationship between them, between time, cost, and the scope. And the key point here is that the three constraints are interconnected. So that's why trade-off requires. If you change one, you likely affect the others. And that's why the project manager responsibility is to trade off between these three constraints. This relationship is that make the project management so challenging. So for example, imagine a project manager working on new product launch. Okay, if the scope increases to include additional feature, now let us think about the conflict can happen. So now the scope increased, this will likely increase the cost. So definitely now the cost will increase as a part of the interconnection, and the time should be extended to complete the project. So alternatively, if the project must be completed faster, that means what? Due to the market deadline, we need to complete more faster. The scope now might change. We have to reduce the scope if we would like to complete more earlier, and to reduce it to stay within the original budget. So this is the trade-off. And I need to deliver the project earlier. Now the time is reduced, and supposedly we need to reduce the scope, and we need to reduce the budget. Or if we are going to be within the budget, we need to reduce the scope to be within the budget. So this is the trade-off between the scope, time, and cost. Figure 1.1 on page 10 provide a diagram or a picture or a figure about the scope, cost, and time of a project performance targets. So think about the Sydney Opera House in Australia, a famous real-world example of the triple constraint in the Sydney Opera House. This project originally was planned to cost $7 million and should take 4 years to complete. Unfortunately, the project ended up with a cost of $102 2 million. So think of the number. The number is very big, the difference from 7 million to 102 million, 102 millions. And instead of completing the project in 4 years, the project took 15 years to finish. So the scope of the project, unfortunately, was expanded dramatically as the designs changed and new features were added. So as a reflection for that, the time extended for 14 years, and the budget also, the cost increased to 102 million, as this increase in the scope required more time and much larger budget than originally planned to, showing how the three constraints are interdependent. In the case of uncertainty and changes in the environment, one of the constraints may change, or all of the three. And maybe we need to trade off between, do we have to deliver the project within time, so we may accept an increase in the budget and reduce of the scope, or the scope is the most important, so this required an increase in the time, an increase in the budget. All the budget is the most important, so we have to reduce the scope and to be within the time. Think about a project that you have work on. Then think about, did you enforce to make any trade-off between the time, cost, or scope, and how uh, changes in one constraint affect the others, and are these decisions that the project manager face on daily basis, and understanding the triple constraints will help make these decisions of the trade-off and to be more manageable. This inshallah will be discussed more in details about how the project managers can apply these constraints in real scenarios and use tools like Agile to address the challenges that arises. As we wrap up today's topic, the introduction to the project management, let us review the key points we have covered in our exploration of introduction to project management. This preliminary slide will summarize the most important concept from today's lecture, so you can keep them in mind as you continue learning. Here are the main takeaways. First, what is project? We began by defining what a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Projects are time-bounded, goal-oriented, and unique, and we explore real examples of real-world examples such as the construction of Burj Khalifa and the developing of a COVID-19 vaccine, both of which had clear goals, deadlines, and outcomes and required multidisciplinary approaches. This was found in the reference page 2. Second, the key differences between project management and general management. So as we discussed how project management differ from general management, project management is focused on unique, time-bounded objectives, while general management deals with ongoing tasks. Project managers must be flexible, creative, and skilled in negotiating with various stakeholders. For example, managing development of a new product versus overseeing routine production in manufacturing line. And this was highlighted in the reference page 4. We move to the third point, where the triple constraints, or the triple our iron triangle, time, cost, and scope, are the key factors that define the success or failure of a project. We explore how changes to one constraint usually affect the others, and that arises the need of the trade-off, and we looked at an examples like construction project or a movie production where trade-off often need to be made, and this was discussed in page 10. Trends in project management also are being discussed. We reviewed the latest trend in project management, including growing importance of aligning project with strategic goals and the rise of agile methodologies and the role of project management offices, PMOs, and the rise of virtual projects facilitated by global collaboration. Also, real world example for Spotify that uses Agile to release updates and gather feedbacks quickly. This discussed in reference page 3. In more details, we move to Agile project management, discussing the agile methodologies, especially the Scrum, have become essential in dynamic industries, particularly in software development. We discussed the four core values of Agile, such as focusing on individuals and interaction over rigid processes, and how Agile allows for responding to change rather than strictly following a predefined plan. The real-world example we discussed in this part was Spotify Agile Sprints for products updates, and this found in page 9. So think about how these concepts tie together. For example, the need to balance the triple constraint, make required agile methodologies which allow for flexibility and adaptability. How can understanding these elements will help you manage projects more effectively? Try to think about the answer of this question. So to sum up, we have established a strong foundation for understanding project management. You have learned about defining projects, the core challenges of balancing time, scope, and cost, the triple constraints, and the trends that are shaping modern project management practices. Moving forward, you will continue building on these concepts and explore tools and techniques to manage projects successfully. So thank you for attention today, and inshallah look forward to our next session where we will dive deeper into the project management tools and strategies, and our next topic will be the project life cycle.